Welcome, everybody. Today is Wednesday, June 21st, 2023, and this is the iBug Android Insight Call. I want to say welcome to everybody. Glad to see everybody's back this month. And this is actually our anniversary month, Hershey.
What? No way.
Yes, we
So
started
1 year,
June
2 years, 3 years.
of 2020.
3 years though, huh?
Yep, we're 3 years. So let me go on and get started with welcome, everybody. This is the iBug Android Insight Call. And this call is all about Android. We talk about everything that deals with the Android platform, from your smartphone to your Alexa devices, your Google devices, your tablets, anything that works on the Android platform. This is the arena where you can come in and ask questions. If you want to know more about the Android, you're right where you need to be. So, I am Ava Caruth. I am your Zoom host, one of them, and my co-host is Hershey. Hershey, want to introduce?
Hey, good evening. This is Hershey from Daytona Beach, Florida, and thank you for everybody for joining in to the iBug Android Insight Call. Looking forward to getting to know you guys. And Ava, what else we got up in there?
Well, let's go ahead and take care of a little of the housekeeping stuff. Anything you want to know about what's going on with iBug, you can go to ibugtoday.com and you will find out if you can sign up if you're not signed up on the mailing list for them, where you can find out what's going on, what events are happening with iBug. Right now, we got 3 great events coming up this week that you can join in and participate with. One of them is the iBug movie
Yeah, true.
on Friday night. It is Paper Moon. The movie starts at 8. Everybody comes in about 7:30 and join in with a little get together. The next one is the iBug Life, which is Thursday night on the 22nd, starting from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And this week episode will be all about emergency preparedness. And the other one that's coming up this week is the iBug Apple Workshop on Saturday, the 24th. And that starts at 2 p.m. And you can access all of this through the same Zoom link that you use to get on to the iBug Android Insight Call.
Ava, that's 2 p.m. Central, right? Just to
Yes,
clarify.
all times are Central Time.
All right.
Okay. So, and like I say, if you want to come out, if you want to find out more information about the Android Insight Call, you go to ibugtoday.com and you can go to our tab there, the Android Insight tab. You can reach us there. Hershey, where else can you find us?
My favorite place, YouTube. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so YouTube, if you type in iBug Today, you'll find our playlist. So you'll find if you're into, if you might have an iPad as well, you have your Android phone, you got all these devices, you want to know more about it, I just type in iBug Today, IBUG Today. And then if you want to join the mailing list, as we spoke about earlier, iBug, IBUG, Android, ANDROID, Insight, INSIGHT, +, subscribe at groups.io. And that will get you on a mailing list. So maybe, new phone drops or there's a sale or you have a question while we come back, next is going to be July. But if you have more questions in between, it's a nice little place to drop your questions and get to know each other.
Yep. So let's do a little bit more about, let's let our guests introduce themselves. We'd like to know your name, where you're calling from. If this is your first time to the call, please let us know what device you have, or devices, as we say.
Stage is all yours, everybody. Feel free to unmute.
Hi, this is Shay from Seattle. Got lots of Android stuff.
Hi, Shay.
Welcome, Shay. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Gloria from Houston.
All
Welcome,
right,
Squad.
Gloria, welcome back.
Thank you.
Janice from Maryland.
Welcome, welcome.
This is Dan from Southern California.
Hi, Dan. Welcome.
Hey everybody, it's Renee from Cleveland, Ohio area.
Welcome, Mr. Nate.
Hi everybody, this is Joel from Sacramento, California.
Hey, nice to see you.
Let's see. What do I have? I have a Galaxy, a Samsung Galaxy.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
Richard from New York.
Hey, Richard. Nice to have you on. And for people that are just joining in, we're just introducing who we are and where we're coming from and maybe what kind of phone we might have. And yeah, feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah, good evening. This is Nate from Maryland. I am new and I use iPhones, but we also have the Galaxy S8 10-inch tablet I'd probably like to learn how to use.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the show and thank you so much. So where did you hear about us from?
I participate in the Apple and iOS iBug
Okay,
every
with
now
Buzz.
and then.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for joining in on more of the calls.
Welcome.
Anybody else wants to introduce themselves and let us know where you're from? Hey, Amazon lady, who are
Yes.
you?
Well, I am Ava. I am from Houston. And I have both Galaxy products, from my Samsung cell phone to my Galaxy tablet to my Fire tablet to my Alexa devices, everything from the Dot to the Show to the TV. And I know I'm missing something. But, and my Google Home Mini. So, and Hershey.
Yes. Hi. Oh, me. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. My
Oh, yeah.
introduction. I am Hershey and from Central Florida area. I have a Samsung S22 Ultra as my daily phone. I have other devices that are Pixel phones. I have the Pixel 6 Pro and old Pixel 4 XL. I would say my wheelhouse is Pixel and Samsung, more or less. Whereas I would say Ava would be Amazon perspective. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and open up the floor for any questions, comments, concerns.
This is Renee.
Go ahead.
I have the Pixel 7 Pro, and when I first purchased it, one of the things I really liked about it was the fact that when I was doing text messages, I could just say the type of emoji I wanted, and it would pop the emoji in there by saying what it was. Well, it stopped doing that. Is there something I may have changed setting-wise inadvertently or something? Or is anybody aware of this being an issue?
Interesting question. Puzzled face.
This is
Guess
Kevin.
it didn't work. Go ahead.
So mine is still working. So that means that maybe before you contact the specialized help and Be My Eyes, that you will want to go and clear your data in the Gboard. I know you probably just it's probably still a very new phone, but you probably want to go clear the data. That's
How
what
do
they're
you,
going to ask you to do. So you go to settings and then apps, and sometimes it's the most recently opened app, and then it'll be at the top, but then you go to all apps. If not, go down to Gboard, and where it says storage and data, you open that up and it'll say clear cache.
settings, apps?
Settings, apps, all apps, and then Google Keyboard, and then storage and data.
All apps. All right, I will.
Settings, apps, and the apps that you've opened most recently will be at the top, and then it'll say all 105 apps. All
There.
56 apps.
All 105 apps, and then
go down to Google Keyboard or Gboard. The way that it appears in the app section, it might be slightly different than the way that it appears in the app drawer. It might say Google Keyboard or Keyboard, I'm not sure, but it'll be in the G's.
Okay, Google.
Scroll it with 2 fingers to get down there faster.
Okay, I will. I'm in the area. I just have to find it. But
yeah, and then when you get in there, go down to click over to the right until it says storage and data. Open that, and then you can clear cache or clear data. Either one of them will do the same thing.
Okay.
And it's going to basically reset everything. So you'll have to go back in there and set your height again and turn on your number row and all that. But that's what they're going to ask you to do before
reset the height and number row, the keyboard.
I mean, if you change those things, there's a way that you can set the row, how high it is, and there's a way that you can add the number row back to the, to the top of the thing.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that, so I guess I won't have to worry about that. Yeah, okay.
So, but it basically starts over. You have to turn on your clipboard and stuff like that. Not the talkback clipboard features, but that one where you can touch on something and paste it, and all your Google Keyboard clipboard things. If you have any of those set up, it's going to reset that.
Okay, I'll look for that. I don't want to hold up everybody else. Okay, thank you.
And everybody, just remember, these are calls are being recorded, so you can go back and listen to them at any time by going to ibugtoday.com. Go to the iBug Android Insight tab, and all of our sessions are up there. So if there's anything you want to go back and listen to again, you can go there and find them, as well as go to the YouTube channel, the iBug YouTube channel as well.
Today.
Thank you, Hershey. Anybody else?
This is Nate. Yes, this is Nate.
Yes,
Nate. In order to start off with TalkBack on Android device, Samsung, where's the best place to go? I'm aware that Hadley has some videos. There's a best YouTube site or something else that's recommended, please. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have some suggestions for Mr. Nate that would suffice for having some kind of videos or help with TalkBack? Well, Mr. Nate, you do have us as a resource for one. And along the way, we've had friends of ours come along the way. So there's Blind Android Users, and they offer a broken down version of what TalkBack is and how to get around it. That could be a resource for you. Carry On Accessibility also talks about Android on her channel. So there are a few people that are friends of the channel kind of thing, or friends of iBug, that have come along. And the main form of what I could say tutorial would come from your phone itself. So if you were to tap with 4 fingers on your screen, it should bring up the TalkBack tutorial. But before you bring up any kind of tutorial, you have to turn the thing on. So to turn on TalkBack, most of the time, if you press and hold both volume up and volume down keys on any Android device, it should trigger TalkBack to turn on, and then it'll say, "Hey, you sure you want to turn me on?" So then press me again, and so you press and hold again the volume up and down keys, and then TalkBack will trigger on. So for Samsung devices, to give it just some difference in comparison to, let's say, a Pixel device, you may have to hit volume up and the power key. And all of these phones, let's just back up. Many phones, such as a Samsung device or a Pixel device, only have 3 buttons. So volume up, volume down, power. There might be known as side key. They might be known as these different variations of keys, but just the placement is just moved around. So there's not many other extensive buttons to memorize. And then you have one port at the bottom of the phone, which you would know that that's your USB charging port, because most new phones at this point are all USB-C. So, that gives you kind of a good variation. So if you're using a magnifier app or what have you, you know that you could keep, the phone tilted and your thumb could go where the USB port is. So that's just a little glimmer right there. And if more people have information for how we could learn TalkBack or have other resources, let us know.
Well, that's an excellent information to help me get started. I'll just play with the menu. But thanks so much.
Absolutely. And if you have more questions, feel free to, bring more in, and maybe, we could even turn on TalkBack and have a play at it. So if you think you want to do anything like that, feel free to ask.
Well, not right now, but I'll keep in mind. But thanks again.
Not a problem. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
Any other persons want to ask questions about?
Hey,
Android?
Hirsch, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How's it going, Bill?
It's going good. I'm on my Android device tonight, so I'm joined in the group. I finally figured out how to get Zoom to kick in.
I did not force nobody. Just making it clear.
So, all right, you guys go ahead and continue. I'll be listening.
Yes, sir. But by the way, Bill, so we were talking about that. So Bill and I had spoke about this earlier this week. So did the 4-finger tap on your screen open up the tutorial, and then the 4-finger double tap open up something else? Could you refresh me on that? What did we figure that day?
Yeah, I think we figured out that the 4-finger double tap brought up that menu where I could go into where it said, what was it? System and not system, but TalkBack settings, tutorial. I think it was. Yeah, tutorial. Yeah. Okay. So that all worked fine. I'll double check it and let you know. But I think tomorrow I can call those people and let them know that, hey, I think we found a solution. So, yeah, I'll play around with it a little bit more and, let them know that, hey, this is, what we'll do, and hopefully it'll work. Because I know on the Pixel it works fine, so hopefully with the Samsung it'll do the same.
Right. So let me rewind the tape for everybody else, because they're like, huh? So what happened is we were on a Samsung device. When you open up your My Apps, your app folder or app drawer, it looks one way, and on a Pixel device it looks similar but slight variation. So when you want to have an icon placed on your, I call it a dock or the bottom row, you normally would open up your apps, and then in the top corner it would say more options. Once you go to more options, you would go to then settings, and that would be your home screen settings. In those settings, there's a checkbox that says add an icon to the home row, or to the whatever specific term that they used, the dock, essentially. And the other way that you may also get to the same thing is within TalkBack. there is a setting or a feature, or I guess setting is the best way to feature to explain that. Is it's called system settings. So what we did is we first went to TalkBack by hitting the screen with three fingers, tap it, so that opens up TalkBack menu, and then we went to TalkBack settings because that's where we wanted to go to. After we went to TalkBack settings, we swiped our fingers to the right and went to customize menu. And under customize menu, we selected, which is all the way at the bottom after other and stuff, it says system actions or something thereof. So once we did that, we were then able to then tap with our three fingers. That opens up TalkBack menu. And we added system actions as the last item on that list. So once you add system actions, you have two options. You could go to quick settings, or you could open up your app drawer. Yeah, it's a long way, but if you needed to go through it through TalkBack, you could add it as a gesture if you'd like. You could put it in different places that might benefit you, and it also benefits you by going to the quick settings. So just a little what happened this week summary there.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I have a question. Is what were y'all trying to? I'm trying to understand.
Trying to get the app drawer to show or appear aside from the two finger swipe up from the middle of the screen.
Oh, trying to get the icon to appear on the home screen.
Right. And system action or system.
Yep, that's in display on Samsung. They go, and you do under the home screen and under the system. I mean, under the display. There's a box that you can just check, and it'll just add the icon to the home screen. But and when you were talking earlier, the single tap with 4 fingers is supposed to be for the tutorial, and the 2-finger double 2 times with 4 fingers is for gesture practice.
Got you. Okay, so 4-finger gesture practice. Double tap 4 fingers. Single tap with 4 fingers opens up the TalkBack tutorial. Appreciate that confirmation there. All right. Anybody else have questions, concerns, thoughts?
And this is Kevin. This is Kevin. If you want to move things down into what Android calls favorites and iPhone calls the dock, I just put my focus on that item and then tap once with 3 fingers on Samsung, and then go to actions, and then go to move, and then put my finger down on the place in the favorites where I want it to go, and it'll just say move to favorites position 1, move to favorites position 2, make a folder with phone if you're on top of another app. But it'll just say that on other devices that are not Samsung, you can just swipe up with 1 finger and your actions will automatically be there.
Could you confirm again? So Samsung, how many fingers, and other phone, how many fingers?
So Samsung, you have to go into the TalkBack menu because they haven't updated TalkBack yet. Right. So you have to tap once with 3 fingers, and then actions will be at the top. If the item that you're on has actions, then actions will be available. If actions does not show up, it's because the item that you're on doesn't have any action. So you double tap on actions, and then you go to move. There'll be an uninstall. There'll be something else on Samsung's. But move is what you want to be able to either move the app to a different position, create a folder, or to move it to one of the favorites positions down on the bottom.
Understood. And then for Pixel phones, the process.
Pixel phones, they have actions. What this is Pixels, and anything that's not a Samsung that's running Android, a TalkBack 13.5 or better. 13.1 or better, then or newer, then you just swipe up with 1 finger. Anytime you have something that has action, you just swipe up with 1 finger, and you swipe up to get to the different actions. Action 1, 2, 3, 4. You swipe up, double tap on the action that you want to perform.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. And Mr. Richard, you had a question, sir?
Yes, with Renee there, when she mentioned the Google emojis weren't working, it's kind of funny because I had completely lost my Android, and that was the first issue that started popping up, where it was in hitting, the Google messaging. And I used to do Google Message, and it would say who you want to message. I would say the person, and it would do it. That had eventually stopped working completely. I tried correcting it, and nothing was working, and it did not correct the problem. I found another way of messaging, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just message this way. Eventually, that stopped working altogether. And I went through everything I could, take the SIM card out, put it back in, cashed out, delete it, reset apps. I didn't want to do it, but I went to factory reset and erased everything I could. And when I did that, all new problems arrived. Apps wouldn't download properly. I couldn't even get apps. I had to keep resetting Google every 4 or 5 minutes because Google will say not set up. Phone numbers and contacts were coming up invalid. I even could not turn the screen reader on or off. It just would not activate. I had them where I get my services. They went into the account and did something, and that was the first problem. And Renee was saying with Google, with her emojis, that was the first problem that popped up. And eventually everything just crashed. There was nothing I could do. And the question I have really with the new phone, how high is this risk of the problem transferring into my new phone, if it even will transfer with when I get the new phone?
This is Kevin. Are you getting the same brand phone that you already had?
Oh, no, it's not going to be the smart Android. It's going to be Android, yes, but it's not going to be. This one here is Smart Android Rev L4. It's going to be a newer model this year.
The T-Mobile, the T-Mobile Reveal 4? Revel 4?
Yes, that's the one that just completely crashed on me. It's a Smart Android Rev L4 that came out last year.
And now you're getting another Revel 4?
Oh no, it's going to be a Smart Android, but not a Revel 4. No, it's a different Android.
Well, the best way to make sure that none of the other stuff happens, I don't know why that would happen with because that's a running almost stock Android, if it's the one that I'm thinking about from T-Mobile and Metro. But the best thing to do is just don't copy any data over, like no apps. Don't let it pre-install the apps, install them one by one. And so just start all over. Don't restore from a backup or anything. Because
that's kind of what I was thinking of doing myself when I get the new one. Don't transfer anything from this old phone. Just go in and reload the apps individual from the new phone. That's what I was thinking of doing.
Kevin, do you think it would help if you got a Samsung?
It would help, but there shouldn't be a problem with a Revel. If it's the T-Mobile one, if that's right, that's almost stock Android. I can't understand. But I mean, I don't know how much this new phone is costing, but for around the same price as the Revel 4, you could get a A32 or.
How much does it cost?
think it's $2.99 the Revel, isn't it? Like $2.99 or something like that. Anyway, there's the A32, and then if you get a good enough deal, you can get that. You can probably get an A53, since the A54 is out. You can get an A53 for probably around the same price, especially if you tell them that you want one that's refurbished or something.
No, these are brand new, and this one here was even brand new, and the problems just really started happening shortly after the Android meeting we had last month. This was like bang, bang, and here's Renee talking about, she did the Google, and it just would not do her emojis, and that was the first thing that went on mine, where I couldn't do any Google messaging. It stopped, and then it just dominoed from there, and it just crashed.
Yeah, she's talking about a voice dictate feature that's on Pixel phones that has some to do with the keyboard and some to do with the Google Assistant. Because you can just say thumbs up emoji or smiley face emoji. If you say it right, it'll just enter it for you, like birthday cake emoji. That's where her problem is, that her dictate.
And this is Renee.
Wasn't working.
This is Renee. I think I've found the issue. I haven't finished, but when you turn on voice access, there's a conflict with it doing that. I gotta go find the setting. I gotta find the setting back in there. But so I'm trying to go through all my settings to fix all that. But I think I found the issue as soon as I can find the way to turn that feature back on. But I turned off voice access, but I gotta find my way back to the other part. But I think that's what the issue is.
Yeah, I found that voice access was always a problem. Even when I first got this, it seemed to want to take over everything you did.
It's a shame that they can't make them work together, but well.
But the issues are solved, though. But appreciate it, guys. It's awesome that.
But let them know that there's a conflict under the specialized help at Be Mine. Let them know that there's a conflict, because there's probably not enough people trying to use both together. Talkback and voice access, because they're for two different audiences, really. And so let them know that.
I will do that.
And if you guys do want to do that, g.co/disability support. Again, g.co/disability support. And that's where you could get a hold of Google for any different products, even for your Samsung phones and such. If you have a bug with your thermostat, perhaps your Nest devices, your phones, etc. A good way to get a hold of them by email, phone. They call you, so you just provide your number and then they reach out to you. And if not, you could also use Be My Eyes and use your camera. So that's a good method to get a hold of Google or any Android support.
Hershey, does that end in .com?
No, that is .co.
So, .co.
Yep, g.co/disability support.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Anybody have any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Feel free to ask.
This is Kenny.
This is Sonia. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and I heard two voices. Go ahead, Sonia.
Okay, real quick. Just wanted to tell you, I learned how to use the drop-in feature. My parents recently got COVID, and we had to be like all isolated, and that's kind of what got us through. And so I figured out how to set up the different rooms and be able to drop in without going in there and being near them. And so it was really cool. I mean, how it worked pretty well, so that's all. I'd been thinking about doing it, but I never did it. And then we really had to do it. So there you go.
Everyone's doing well, but yeah, that's awesome.
It was really great. I mean, because also, it's just hard for my parents to keep answering the cell phone. They were just kind of like under a lot of stress. So it was just easier to drop in, and then they're there. They don't need to do anything. So
can you explain the feature, Sonia?
Yeah, so what it is so if you have an A lady, and maybe you have more than one A lady, so you could put one in your bedroom, and one in the kitchen. And then when you're in your bedroom, you could say, drop in on the kitchen. And then you can talk to whomever is in there. And they don't have to do anything. I mean, you're setting it all up. And so if you need to say, hey, feed the dog or whatever, you can just talk to them because you're in the kitchen.
Right.
And they can talk back to you. So the difference is there's another feature called Make Announcement. And Make Announcement goes over all of your devices, but that's only a one-way communication.
I'm just bringing pizza.
Yeah. So there you go. So it was really it really saved us a lot of drama. So.
Well, thank you so much. And even for us Googlers, similar, since they're all Android-based systems, they have a thing called Broadcast. So you just say, hey, G, broadcast, and then start talking. And then it should play in the other room, or I usually call my other speaker out in the other room. So similar fashion of a feature is found on both A devices and G devices.
This is fun. They have one more quick story, if you don't mind.
This is awesome.
So I gave my sister my LG, one of those things I bought on Prime Day that I really didn't need, but bought it anyway, right? So it was a smart TV. And so then her TV broke down, and I said, okay, well, just take this because I don't need it. I don't use it. I never turn it on. Okay, so she takes the TV, loves the TV, and then all of a sudden I made one of those announcements on my A-Lady, and then, well, she got the announcement because she's still part of my network. My sister lives right next door. So, so she was kind of shocked, like, whoa, what happened? So
my sister has lost it. She's already talking to her phone all day long.
To her TV.
Yeah.
But it was pretty funny. She's like, what are y'all doing? I heard you want ice cream. I don't know. He said something, and she was like, what's going on? She was really surprised, first of all. She didn't know where it was coming from.
So I guess the moral of the story, folks, is they're useful, but then they could be really scary, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the moral of the story is when you give a device to someone, make sure they cancel out your account and put it on their own.
Yeah, that too. Now you tell me. It's just my sister, luckily, so it's okay. It was fun to freak her out, though. So
that's a question, though. Like, could my husband get an A-Lady, put it in his or our, system here, give it to his parents, and then you can do the drop-in thing?
This is Sonia.
Yeah,
even though his parents live in another, house.
Yes, this is Sonia. That is a real common. You can give it to anybody, any of your. You can, you just have to give permission. Right. So you could set that up. That's really commonly used with older parents and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and for that, actually, you might want to get the Echo Show that actually has a camera, so they can see how they're looking, and if they look pale or whatever. So yeah,
I'm thinking this is our birthday day, or I mean, Ava brought it up to my attention. I rewinded way back in the Wayback Machine. Kenny, I think, was on, or somebody. We all did like a little demonstration. And it was the show and tell feature. I still remember it with the Echo Show.
Oh yeah.
And wow, that was like 2 years ago, I think.
The Coke can or the Sprite can or something.
Yep. Like, and you're like, I like Dr. Pepper or something, or you had a specification. But and look at where we've come. I mean, there's so many different tools. We have Google Lookout, we have Envision AI, and so on and so forth. And then we have the Amazon stuff that they got cameras anyway, that are potentially getting smarter, let's say. But I guess, let me ask you, the audience, this: what has been working for you guys?
This is Kenny.
Share your story. Go ahead.
Well, I'm big into the Echo devices, and someone mentioned for the parents they can get the Echo Show 3, and what that thing does is it'll rotate, so you could drop it and view and rotate it. and just take a look at the whole surrounding there. And it's got a pretty good camera. It's a 13 megapixel camera with a 10-inch screen and a pretty good speaker, a cylinder type speaker it's hooked to. So it's not a bad device. And Prime Day is coming up on the 11th and 12th of July. So that'd be if you're a Prime member, that'd be a good day to buy something like that. I'm pretty sure it'll be on sale. It usually is. Regular price is $250. I've seen it in the past on sale for $180.
So Ken, this is this kind of the newest of the Echo shows, or is this a new product that derived from it?
This is so far as the Amazon makes, is the newest of the Echo shows that I've seen. They have another one, but it's designed to be hung on the wall.
Gotcha.
And it's about a 15-inch hung on the wall thing, but a lot of people say it's bulky. Speakers don't sound as great. And I guess it would, if you just viewed pictures, it'd be good for a photo frame or something like that.
And one more time with the price and the name of this product, so that people interested, we could go grab it.
It's the Echo Show 3. Regular price is $250, and I've seen it on sale in the past for $180.
Awesome. Well, appreciate that, Ken. Thank you.
All right.
Well, also as a little tidbit, since they finally announced Prime Day, there's a new Echo Dot out now, but it's not called the Dot. It is called Echo Pop.
Oh.
So we have a new little Echo speaker out there now. So
this is Foster.
yes,
Go ahead,
Foster, and that's
And
who I
guess who
heard
has
it from. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, Foster?
Yep. So it replaces the Dot. It's the shape of it is like a kind of like I would say like a half, like a half of an orange, so it's half rounded, and the speaker faces kind of out almost at a not quite 45 degrees angle, so it's shooting upward, and it's excuse me, my wife got me that for my Father's Day present, and then it has the little for those that have some vision, it has a little blue light indicator is like on the top of the speaker, so it doesn't go all the way around like it did on the Echo. It's just part of it is goes like around the top of the speaker. And so she got me the one she got it with the wall mount, and the wall mount's pretty cool because the wall mount basically uses the AC adapter, because it still has the big, that big AC adapter. So the wall mount fits over the adapter. You tuck the cord underneath, and there's a little slot to cover it up so the cord's not hanging, and the pop just sits. It's like a cradle. It's like a cradle just sits in the cradle. So if you get it, put it someplace where nobody can bump into it, because I knocked mine over twice already, so I had to move it. So it still works though, but yeah.
And just another little tidbit to everybody, this one is also portable. There is a portable battery charger that you can purchase with it as well. So if you're going outside, let's say you're in your backyard, you want to take it out there with you, you can unplug it, put it on the portable battery charger, and take it outside with you.
Mm-hmm. And the sound, it sounds way better than the Dot. The speaker quality is way better than the Dot.
This is Sonia.
Yes, Sandia.
Okay, not to be a party pooper, but I got one of those battery chargers for my Echo Show, the one that is like the new shape that they have now, and it didn't last very long, and I know it's because it's constantly listening. I mean, is the new one, it's probably going to be the same issue, right? Or It just
Not sure.
okay.
Yeah, not sure on it, but
Not sure.
the information I read on it says they're supposed to last 6 hours.
Okay.
So.
And then the show too was a video coming on with this show or?
Sorry.
You said you had it connected to a show, right?
No. This was This is a different. This is the round one.
Just the dot.
No, it's an Echo. It's just a plain Echo, but it's like they have a new shape now. They're kind of like
the one that looks like Epcot Center.
Yeah, it looks like an egg. Yeah. That one. So I bought the little base for it, but it didn't do much. And then I dropped it in the shower, and then it really didn't do much. So.
Oh no.
This Scott, shall we call that the egg code? Like an egg.
Scott, how are you, sir?
Hey,
oh
pretty
my
good.
God, glad to hear you. Oh, sorry, I'll be quiet.
Bye.
Thanks. All right.
Welcome.
This is Kenny.
Go ahead, Kenny.
I have a comment and a question the comments for Sonia and the questions for me. There is a battery base for the dot you had, the round one, and it had a 10,000 milliamp battery, and then that might help it last a long while. I have two of those. And then the question I had, if you have a Android Google device, like a phone, where's a good place to get different voices besides the default Google voices that it comes with?
This is Bill. Didn't at one time, this is going back a while when I had Androids before I got my iPhone. If I'm not mistaken, didn't they all have the Nuance voices available on the Play Store that you could load into it at one time?
Hey, Bill, this is Hershey. Technically, yes. Vocalizer voices is what I use specifically. So they are like your Nuance voices that you might be familiar with. Ava, Tom, Nathan, so on and so forth. And then there are their languages from like Australian English, Matilda, Lee, etc.
Right.
So there's that, and then there's also Acapella that I know of that people do tend to download voices from. For any Amazon devices, you have your Ivona voices because they kind of took it from us underneath all Android users. But yeah, I'm not bitter.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Kenny. Will this work with the Android 13 and up?
Yes, it should work with that.
Should, yeah.
I have not heard anything with vocalizer voices. If people pull stuff away from us, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
I do have a question regarding the Pixel. Has
Go ahead.
Anybody, because I have it set up where I can unlock now with both my face and fingerprint. And the one problem I do have, with the face recognition, you have to have proper lighting for it to even pick up, which can be a pain. But the fingerprint, sometimes I have a hard time finding it because it's in display, Anybody have any pointers as to how to get to that thing and be able to have it unlock the first time you touch it, or what's the best approach?
I know we got our trainers in here. Anybody want to give some pointers on how is the best method of capturing your fingerprints and other biometrics?
Well, usually because I have that problem. This is Ava. I have that problem with mine because I've been wanting to throw my phone away since they did that. But from what I have done as a trick for me is I know where the where your phone where you plug it in to charge it.
Right.
I usually because it goes from like your knuckle of your finger, whichever finger you're using. It's like that second knuckle. You just have to try to see which one it works with. But I go up from there to like the second knuckle on my finger, and then I'll tap the screen there, and usually I'm right on the mark for there. That's where it's located.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm still getting used to it, and I like the device. I mean, it works quite well, and it's very snappy and everything. I got the Pixel 7, and it's snappy once I get it going, but occasionally it's like you gotta, I've noticed that I have to fish around for it. And then sometimes even when I have to enter in my passcode, it appears that once I tell it I'm going to do the passcode, I think every once in a while there's an extraneous character that gets put in there when I don't realize it. And it sits there, wrong passcode, and you got to do it all over again. But, the fingerprint, if I could get that to work, like it does with the older iPhones with the home button, that'd be nice. So it's just a matter, I guess I just have to get used to it. That's the whole, I think that's the whole puzzle.
Yeah, that's it. Because I've gotten better with mine. But like I say, if you go from where you plug the phone in to charge at the bottom, it's usually direct about a fourth of the way up the screen from there. So it's like the second knuckle on your finger, and it's not really, well, I know mine's not really centered. I don't think it's centered. I think mine is more to the left, but try centering your finger there and touch straight up to find it.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a shot because every once in a while it does give me fits, but again, it's just the device I'm still getting used to.
Yeah.
This is Foster.
Yes, Foster.
I had a question in regards to that because I noticed on my, because I have a OnePlus, and I noticed sometimes when I'm unlocking the phone, it doesn't give me that option for fingerprint. Like it'll give me the key, like for example, if I haven't opened anything for a while, sometimes it doesn't give me the option for the fingerprint. Nor for the face, it actually asks me for my code. Anybody else have that happen to them?
I'm just wondering if that's an inherent problem with the in-display sensors.
No, sir. No. What happens is, this is Ava, because anytime my phone restarts itself, whether I restart it or power it back on, it's like, how do you put? It's like when your computer locks itself and it wants you to go back and log in again. So I'm thinking it's more like that because when I restart my phone, I cannot do my fingerprint. I have to enter the code, enter my PIN code.
Yeah.
So that would be the same thing if your phone has been, it may have locked itself out, logged out, better word to say, and then in order to reopen it again, it's its way of verifying it's you. So having you to redo the PIN again.
And this is Hershey Ava, you're correct. Anytime you plug in your charger into your phone and remove the plug, it's gonna require you to put a PIN. Anytime you restart your phone, it's gonna require you to put a PIN. It's a safety issue or a safety thing. So anyone could put a SIM jacking or whatever USB cable and take your stuff. So it's a security precautionary thing where it requires you to have that authentication with your PIN. And I'll come back to that, but yeah.
Hey folks, this is Joel.
Hey Joel, go ahead.
Just about the unlocking. I mean, it seems like with mine, I I'll add my face as the unlocking method and my fingerprint, and it works fantastic for a week, couple of weeks, and it seems like gradually it just stops. It stops knowing who I am. It stops recognizing my finger. It doesn't even seem to sense when I'm trying to enter my fingerprint. And then the only option is like so every month or so I have to put in the new or add my face again, delete the old one, add my face again. It works pretty well. Anybody else have that problem, or am I doing something strange?
Mr. Joel, what kind of phone was that on specifically?
Samsung Galaxy. It's a it was new about a year and a half ago.
Basically S series?
Yes.
Okay, so S22, S21, S23, something like that.
Let's see. I think it's an S21.
All right, perfect. Anybody have more insight for Mr. Joel with why things might be going downhill?
Oh, and also thank you too for the information about the plugging it in. I didn't know that, and I've noticed that, or
yes,
I'll pay attention to that now.
Yes, especially with the Samsung phones, I've noticed that Pixel phones not as much acquainted with them, but I could definitely say for certain that that's how my Samsung devices act. And with regards to even your fingerprint, I don't remember what update it was, but it was a while back, and Samsung pushed this out, which is a weird way they did it, and it was a little notification that reminded me, make sure your fingers are not dry and flaky. It's just making fun of me, but anyway, so just to make sure that your fingers might be a little bit damp when you touch the fingerprint. I know on the Samsung under screen fingerprint, it might not want to unlock quickly because of that. If your fingers are dry, just depending on, heat and this, that, and the other, snow even. And for the Pixel devices, I'm not sure if that could be a helpful pointer. The thing amongst all these companies and phones right now is we're in this topsy-turvy world. Samsung has their under the fingerprint reader scanner down packed pretty decently, especially with like the A models, and then the A models then push it out to the like A55 or A54 will then push it out to the S model, and that will be part of their flagship feature. But to come back to other devices, the Pixel 5, I think, for example, put it in the fingerprint in the power button, and then we went under the screen fingerprint, and then the Pixel 4 XL, for example, which I have behind me, that had the Soli chip, SOLI, and the Soli chip was something really similar to what Apple users are more familiar with Face ID, because it took a imprint, or it knew that you're a human, right, with the Soli chip. They dropped the Soli chip because I guess there wasn't adoption, even though they could have done a lot with it. And here we are now as using a camera type of protocol. So it's just taking a facial image of you, and then that's why they say, hey, if somebody else has a picture of you, be careful that they might get into your phone. So some of the facial stuff at this point, I say, is for convenience. For fingerprint, I think is still pretty valid as a biometric. PIN and passwords are stronger than pins. Multitude of characters and numbers will always keep people out. So it's always best to for any devices to practice safety and your password recycling and stuff. So
this is Ava. Also, make sure your screen is clean. I know we use screen protectors over our screens and stuff, but make sure you clean your screen and see if that helps too.
This is Richard.
Go ahead.
With the fingerprint and stuff, I know it's not Android, but I have recently had gotten an iPad, so with the fingerprint, it showed up on the iPad fingerprint, and you mentioned moist and dampness, but I was a little nervous and antsy with water around electronics, such as Sonia pointed out. It don't like baths. So flour, or something like flour. Just a little bit of find a flat surface, like almost like aluminum foil, and make sure it's a hard surface, and push your finger into the flour, and like almost really make sure it's packed hard. And you can even wet it a little bit, just dampen it a little bit on the flour, and to where it's stuck to the flour and stuff, and just really push hard on your finger into it. And then it just picked it right up. I didn't even have to push. It's almost like I just touched it, and then it's like, bang, there it was. Because the flour made, your fingerprint stand out. It's almost like when you get fingerprinted, they use the ink and stuff, and at the bank, and you use ink. And I have to use my fingerprint at a bank, and they use ink. But I didn't have ink here. I just said, let me see a flower, and I pushed in, and it's almost like I didn't even have to touch it. It just picked it right up.
I guess I'll call it the Pixel Mystery. Sandhya and her Pixel phone in her garage. Oops.
I do remember the facial recognition. Going back to that, this is Bill, by the way. When I did my Apple devices, when you do your facial recognition, you have to rotate your face, and it'll sit there and tell you, rotate it to the left and down and up and everything, and then of course it gives you a percentage on how far you've gotten into the process. I did notice with the Pixel, when I did the facial recognition and set it up, it was boom, it was right there. You didn't have to rotate your face or anything. It just did it. My only issue with it is you have to have enough light for it to even pick up. I tried to use it earlier today, and unbeknownst to me, I was in a darkened area, and it wouldn't have it. So, that, and then that's when the fingerprint issue came in. So each I guess each operating system has their own way of doing it. And I guess it's just something we have to try and deal with. But I think in most cases it does work. You just have to deal with its its finicky nature.
Right. There's a lot of quirks in the pool of Android, I guess, in that sense, where like Sony, I think their fingerprint scanners within the power button, and a lot of people like their fingerprint for whatever reason. And then Samsung is all about, hey, let's get it underneath the screen, and it's all invisible and no buttons, and so everybody has their style of doing it. And as you said, it was so quick. All it did is probably just take a picture of you, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's the same person, so we'll let you in. Whereas the Soli and all the other, it was more of a biometric rather than just a simple photo.
Right.
All right. Any more questions, thoughts, concerns? And
well, I want to go do a little bit of housekeeping real quick, just to remind everybody. Y'all know it's coming up real soon and real quick that we have the national conventions for the American Council of the Blind, which will be from January 1 through the 6th, I believe, in Schaumburg, Illinois. And
July.
July. I'm sorry. July.
Schaumburg, Illinois.
Yeah. So we know our iBug, Michael McCullough, will be there presenting. And then the National Federation of the Blind is July 1st through the 6th. And it'll be right here in Houston, Texas. And our own iBug, Sandhya, will be there speaking.
Woo-woo.
This is Scott, just to let y'all know that the virtual only part of ACB it's on Zoom only is happening this week. It started, I think, yesterday or the day before. And you can hear parts of it on ACB Media, the different channels. I think 1 and 3 are most commonly used.
This is Sonia.
Yes, Sonia.
So yeah, actually, Scott, you're absolutely correct. So we will actually be part of that on the bit. We're part of the BITS presentation,
Bits,
and
right?
we'll be there on Friday at 1:00 Central Time. So we'll be there talking about trackers and tracking devices and back to the NFB conference. We will have a table, we'll have a reception. So I'd love to see anybody that's coming here to Houston. So thank you, Eva.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just remember that ACB radio, you can access that on your Lady A devices.
This is Renee.
Yes, Renee.
Do I have a time for one more question?
Yes,
Oh,
of course.
yes.
When I'm using TalkBack on my Pixel and I get a phone call, I answer the phone and TalkBack is still talking. Is there a way to make it stop talking when I answer the phone? Is there some kind of hierarchy or something setting in there?
Anybody have suggestions to make TalkBack stop talking back? Interesting problem, Ms. Renee, with this one. It's a Pixel device, so I'm using a Samsung, so I'm trying to think of other solutions that could come up
This is
with.
Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
What is it saying when you answer the phone?
Sometimes it's like it's saying numbers or time or something like that. It's almost like, I don't know if you've ever experienced it before, where you're using your screen reader on a device like Chrome, Google TV, or a Samsung TV, and you change the channel or something, and it gives you some extraneous information that you don't really want. It's kind of like, it sounds like that. I haven't really paid attention to exactly what it is, but it seems like it's saying numbers or something.
And are you answering it and putting
I'm answering
the phone up to your face, or are you
Yes, I'm
using
answering the
a
phone.
headset?
I'm answering the phone and putting it up to my face. Yeah. I'm selecting
Make sure that and you might have turned this off for some other reason, or make sure it didn't get turned off, but if you turn that proximity sensor off for any reason, then it is going to talk, because it's going to tell you things that it thinks you want to know, like how long you've been on the call, who you're on the phone with.
Okay.
That there's things that you still might want to swipe. So if you have that proximity sensor
off,
off, like, that will, because it's using the accelerometer and the proximity sensor to decide if it should be talking or not.
I'll turn that back on, because I had turned it off because of my other issue with the glitter. So I'll turn it back on. I'll turn it back on now that I've resolved that issue. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
This is Richard. I have that same problem where the phone would say 002, 003, 004.
Yeah, something like that.
That's saying what he just mentioned. It's giving you the time frame of being on the phone with someone. When I have my Android, obviously, it was doing that on my Android, and all I did to get rid of the problem when it did that is I didn't turn anything off or anything like that. What I did when it acted like that is I just quickly just tapped the screen, and it would stop. And then it just, now I don't know, it might not work the same on what you have.
Well,
but the
it
device
does. There is, tapping the screen is also an option to make it stop. So I can remember that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got one quick question. It's kind of in the same vein.
Go ahead, Bill.
When you're on a call and you want the speaker to come on automatically when you pull it away from your face, I've not seen that option available on the Pixel. So when you're trying to navigate the screen a little bit, it's the talkback is coming out of the earpiece. So you have to listen really carefully, and then I find the speaker button, hit that, and then everything is fine. But I'm just wondering if there's any way to get that speaker to come on automatically if you pull it away from your face or whatever, and you just put it down on the table or something. Does anybody know what to that?
This is Kevin. There might be some apps that do that. Samsung, in an effort to be like Apple at one time, had that feature, but TalkBack users are not used to that, so they took it away. LG tried it for a while, and the Android faithful don't really consider that a feature, so they took it away. So you just have to hit. But there are probably apps in the store that do that, but that has never been. I mean, I had that question from students, but it's usually from people who are coming from iPhone to Android.
Yeah, I had it on
Samsung. They had it
phone.
for a while. Like when you would have TalkBack on and you made a call, they would automatically go to speakerphone, and I think people started complaining.
Yeah, I had it on an LG phone. I thought it was a good feature to have, and I just, and when I got this one, I was like, oh, where'd it go? You know.
Yeah, LG tried it for a while, and Samsung. I think LG took it away also.
Huh.
On the higher end phones, I don't know about some of the older ones.
This is Richard with the speaker. Is that on the Android you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have another thing. That's another problem I had where you have to listen very carefully, and if you get it too close to your face, it shuts. So what I did is a little trick that I use so I can still hear the phone with the proximity, because then it shuts everything off. Little trick I used, if you know where the earpiece is, the sound is coming from, tilt the phone to where that particular speaker is coming, so you might have to be very, very limber. But tip the phone to where that speaker, you're hearing it, and then use the navigation to hear and stuff, unless it's very, very quiet where you are. If it's very, very quiet where you are, you would be able to hear turn speaker. Yes, I can't find anything to keep it on automatically because I like it too. So tip the screen away from you, listen for that speaker, and be limber enough, and then find speaker and bang and click it, and you got it. But try to keep the screen away from you, proximity, so you can still hear and listen.
Right.
Hey, this is Hershey.
This is Kevin.
One second, Kevin. I counted about 5 people. Maybe this might be something you might send off to the Google Disability Desk. Might be a feature that we might get back, right? If it's something that we all might want, and we could maybe put it back into TalkBack or something, let them know. And go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That with the address that he gave, or through Be My Eyes, you can make feature requests, but you need to get a few more people to call in as well. But because it's never been on any of the Nexus phones or Pixel phones, so it would be a new feature for Google.
Here's my wish list, if I might, Kevin. This is Hershey again. We already have hit the power button to end calls. That's already on all Android phones. On Samsung devices, if you go under the phone or under the accessibility section that this is in, you could use volume up to answer your calls and power button to end calls. The Pixel devices never had that. They just had the power to end calls. And then otherwise, with the newer TalkBack, you would end your call with 2 fingers by double tapping. With older phones, such as the Note 9 that had an older screen reader, it still is the same thing to end a call with 2 fingers and such. But the screen reader is slightly different in the sense of what we were talking about with TalkBack. So for anyone that might be using an older legacy type of device, you might have some difficulties or different understanding of the devices. As we have commented plenty times over and over, buying a newer Samsung A series, at least A30 and above, buying anything in the S series, of course, will be just fine. and the Flip and the Fold, of course, if that's what your fancy is. And then for the Pixel devices, the Pixel 8 lineup or just the regular old Pixel 7s and 8s coming out in the fall. So, and then you got the Fold and what have you, and of course the tablet. So with devices like this, it builds trust in the device that it's going to last us a long time, at least 3 to 4 years, depending. So that's the only reason we kind of keep saying go for these brands. And then of course Sony is doing what they're doing, and hopefully Sony catches the rhythm and the wave, and they give us some good years out of their devices, because they have some really neat phones, but the marketing sometimes doesn't feel as strong. So we just want to make sure we're working with these companies to put our feedback in. If we want that feature, I mean, we're the end users, so why should we feel shy about asking for what we need? So we work by working together as a team, and it's a stronger build. So feel free to ask more questions. We still have time.
Is there a list available of all of these companies that make the hardware that we could get our hands on and send in suggestions to them, as well as Google for the Android part of it? Where we could send in the suggestions of what would work for us in terms of accessibility. Because as an instructor, I have clients coming in with different phones. Fortunately, most of them are Samsung, but I'm waiting for the time when I get an Alcatel that comes in, and things like that. And where do you start to try to put the bug in the hardware producers' ears that say, "Oh, gee, yeah, we didn't think of that, but maybe it'll work."
This is Foster.
Go ahead, Foster.
A lot of other phones, as far on the Android platform, most other phones, especially like cheaper models, like companies that make cheaper models like Alcatel, TCL, pretty much any of those you see on Amazon that's $200. Most of them still use stock Android. They just have smaller, slower process. A lot of them have a lot slower processors in them. So it doesn't, that part. Some companies they might put a minor scan on top of it, but for the most part, a lot of the features are still the same.
Thank you, Foster. And so, Foster, what is your outcome with your OnePlus, since you do have a not everyday selected Android device?
So, well, anybody that knows any history about OnePlus, it kind of started out as a low cost device, but then the software was solid. So now they make premium, like I guess we'll say with the 7 and up, it's kind of they've entered the premium market, and so I have the 8, and our only complaint with it is OnePlus. Like, I just got 13, but it took forever just to get Android 11. So a lot of the features still work like Android, but OnePlus has a couple of software features that it's put in that's different from regular Android. Like, for example, when you all were talking about Face ID and not having enough light. Well, OnePlus, they have this feature that if it's not enough light in the room, it turns the whole screen white to give you the light, so that the Face ID can read your face. So I'm like, maybe some of the other companies need to pick that up.
Definitely a useful feature. Yeah, I mean, I still like my Soli, man. Matter of fact, let me see if I'll unlock my phone. But anyway, anyone have more questions?
This is Kevin.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say about the different brands. And some of them, I mean, they all have to try to stand out, but they're all running the Android accessibility suite with the exception of Samsung phones. So it's a little more like the JAWS and Windows situation for the most part. So whether you have an Alcatel or ZTE or whatever, the experience is not that much different. But sometimes there's companies that that are not acknowledged, but they might throw in a couple of accessibility features. And being an Android teacher myself, you just have to roll with the punches. You just have to, figure it out.
Figure it out as you go
what
along.
ZTE has done. I know that I've never used a Sony phone, and I would like to, but I know they have some accessibility features of their own that they add to the accessibility menu. That they use the regular TalkBack, but then they add some of their own things. Samsung adds some of their own things. Some things they choose not to include. So, but you just go with it. That's but for the most part, it's a JAWS and Windows type thing. It's just you're running the same screen reader on top of the same OS, but it might be the brand, it might be a HP, it might be an Asus or a Dell or whatever, but that doesn't matter.
Great analogy. Great analogy. Thank you. More questions? We got about 10 more minutes if y'all want to ask more questions.
This is Kenny.
Go ahead.
I mentioned the voices. How would I get those voices in the App Store?
It would be with through the Play Store. If you would search up Acapella, let's see, Acapella, and then Vocalizer Voices, VOCALIZER Voices.
Okay, Acapella, and what was the other one?
Vocalizer Voices.
Vocalizer.
Yep.
Okay, are they free or do they cost? Or?
Vocalizer does cost. Acapella, I believe they have a couple free, couple cost. Where I found the Vocalizer, or excuse me, the Acapella more so used. We also have Voice Stream Reader and Voice Stream Scanner, but it's called Legier instead of Voice Stream. And for the reader, they offer you the Acapella ... voice. So there's some might be for $1, some might be for free. I haven't played with them. To me, the Vocalizer voices sound similar, and something I've known, especially with using JAWS and stuff. I use Ava across my devices. So.
Vocalizer and Acapella. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
The Acapella voices have gone up significantly in price. You might pay $8 for one voice now.
Say who?
It used to be $3.99. I said the Acapella voices have gone up significantly. Like some of them are like $8. Ooh.
I don't know what people are thinking, man. They're taking away everything. Ivona went away to Amazon. Okay,
no, they've added a lot more voices. They're a lot more active than Vocalizer. They've been sitting on the same version for like 6 years, but Acapella is very kind of aggressive, and they have a lot of voices.
Would you say that you like hearing them on a long-term listening or whatever you've heard so far?
They're good. I just don't like the way they read numbers, so I always go back to Vocalizer or Google TTS.
I'm in the same boat. You go to the other one, like, nah.
So
This is
Foster. This is Foster. Once you buy it though, like even if you switch phones, you can just go back and download.
Oh yeah, you can have it on more than one phone. The only thing that's not good is that, unless I'm doing it wrong, but like if I purchase it from the Chrome store for my Chromebook, it doesn't carry over to my phone.
I've heard there.
So I had to buy Wheel twice. And one time it was $3.99, and one time it was
$7.99. Anyway. So programmers, young folks, make some voices. We need some voices in the Android space. Tell your nieces, nephews, whoever. We need new voices if they want to program some stuff. Sure, could use one.
This is Renee. I don't know if anybody who has an Google Assistant speakers, they do have a couple of new voices on there.
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, there are some new voices on the assistant side of your Nest speakers or the Google speaker.
And just a comment, I did fix that problem with those changes I made with my emoji coming with my voice by turning off voice access and going back into the keyboard and resetting the setting to allow it to do that. It fixed the problem.
Awesome. Thank you for letting us know. That's great. Fix something on the show. That's the first. It's our birthday.
All right, everybody. We're getting down to the last 5 minutes of the show. So we have time enough for one, maybe two more comments and questions.
I don't have anything else.
Well,
anybody going to get a tablet from Google?
Ava?
Yes.
Okay, this is Foster.
Yes, Foster.
Ava's my gadget friend. So, and Kevin too. We talk about
next month
gadgets.
we'll expect a tablet from you, Miss Ava.
Are you getting the Google tablet?
You know I'm gonna get it.
So have you got? So yeah. Well, maybe we can talk about that next month.
It's been getting good reviews.
Yeah. What I've heard is it's the other way around. So if you're expecting a tablet to be a tablet, or if you're expecting a hub, it's not a hub, it's a tablet. So just know what your expectations are. It is a tablet at the end of the day, but it's supposed to become a hub, and that's just some feedback that I've also heard across the space. So hopefully it'll be good. It has at least 4 speakers.
It's a little trick.
Last remember.
It's a little trick. It's a little trick to that. It does become a hub, but there's a little trick to it.
Yeah, you gotta extra smooth with it.
Yeah. It's a little trick to it. So I'll just say this: it's the only tablet that comes out the box with its own speaker / charger. So the speaker works as a wireless charger, and it's like it does double duty basically. And then you can take it off the speaker and just use it as a regular tablet. So like it does double duty. When you put it on the speaker, it turns into a hub. And
so good for the kitchen, good for taking it to the dining room, reading the audiobook or something on the side and putting it back on, just charge it.
Right. And it also has a USB-C port on it if you aren't near the hub and you want to charge it up. And then OnePlus just came out with an Apple-esque Android tablet that kind of works like an iPad.
Interesting. So we got some stuff to talk about this summer. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully we'll get to see everybody at some of these conventions coming up. And thank you for Scott and some of these other folks, Bill, Miss Renee, new folks that have come into the show for joining us tonight. It's been super fun with all these conversations. And thank you, Sandhya, for all the stories. It was really great to have you back on the show. And it's our birthday.
Yes. Yeah. So just remember we got the ACB conference and the NFB conference coming up July 1st through the 6th. As you know, ACB, you can catch it on the ACB radio on your A device.
This is Kevin. The ACB actually runs through the 7th.
Appreciate the confirmation.
All right, y'all. July 19th will be our next meeting. So that'll be the third Wednesday in July. Hershey, great hearing you again.
Well, what time is the meeting, though? I forget every time.
It's 7 o'clock Central Time. I want to say Eastern so bad. 7 o'clock Central Time on July 19th.
And for my friends on the East Coast, that is 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 9:30 meeting ends. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yep. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Night.
Welcome. Thank you.
Everybody have a